Gents, how's it?
What's up, X-Men? What's up, Jojo?
Can I get a how's it up in here?
How's it?
It's been a while, guys. Come on.
Yeah, man.
It's been a while.
It's a couple of months. Good to
Yeah,
be back. Good to see you guys.
We've been off the grid.
Yep, but working on the ground.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. I like that, gents.
Happy New Year.
What do they say about lateness?
Better late than never. I don't know what else
Next
do
week
they
is
say.
Easter. Happy Easter. But
Better
anyway,
late
hi,
than
gents.
never.
How have you been? How have you been? Maurice, how have you been?
It's been up and down. Good start to the year. So much that we've done so far. Yeah, I can't actually believe we're in April already. But it's been good, man. Roller coaster ride, but predominantly good. What about yourself?
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah, things are good. Yeah.
You
Well
know-
rested.
You know what they say, like sometimes like it's always nice to take some time off and,
Yeah.
and do some reflection.
True.
And like when you reflect, then you get to like see things in a different way. You start to develop more ideas. I mean, that's how creative people stay creative.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
And you?
Um,
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. And the fun of it for me was obviously the planning that had to go around us actually going back to doing what we love doing. And the experience was very I would say it was somewhat a revelation, because I mean, like everything we have here now is something that we took some time, and we really planned it out. And when you see everything coming to fruition, you just obviously can't wait to go back there again and say, yeah, this is what we did it for.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So it's been great, gentlemen. It's been great.
Yeah, so I think from here on it's just upward climbing.
Of course.
Do you agree?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You know what I was actually thinking about just the other day, like one of my like very random thoughts. I'm like, today, like anything is valuable for as long as you believe it to be. And if you can convince people that whatever it is that you have is valuable, there's nothing that stands between you and actually getting the valuation that you've actually assigned into that particular something, whatever it is. And an example of this would be, think about a cryptocurrency coin, and how it actually accumulates value. One person is going to start the notion, or is going to drive the narrative that this particular coin is of extreme value. If you put money into it, you will see that it will be that. Right? Now, that's quite profound and very powerful. Because if you think about it, at first, there was no perceived value.
Yeah.
Right? And then a person decided to assign value. And then he went about convincing everyone of that particular value. And the more people bought into that particular value that he's assigned to that particular asset, it grows and grows and grows. So why doesn't that rule actually apply in everything in life? It does. It's just that
Exactly.
we've never actually thought of things maybe in that way. So when I always like have a chat with you guys, and then I ask you guys, I'm like, okay, so how much do you think like this platform is worth? And I don't want to hear anybody throwing like said figures, because that's you setting yourself up for failure. If you give yourself a low rating, then
People will
actually
look
take
at you
that
that way.
rating.
Yeah.
Of course. So like in everything that you do, like you have to give it to yourself first. Like the person that says, this is the value of the coin.
So it's basically you transferring energy to a particular object or
Yes.
craft
Or idea.
So the energy that you transfer in and you believe in that, what actually happens is other people start seeing it as well, and their energy as well grows it. Am I correct by saying that?
Yeah, that's 100%.
Allows it to grow.
100%.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So sometimes, like I get stuck in my thoughts, like just thinking about all of these things and how simplistic they actually are in nature. But most of the time, they are often seen as much more convoluted than they actually are, but they aren't. They really are. They really aren't convoluted. They're not very complicated, or they're not complex issues. Like for you to be a professional in what you do, you need consistency, right? And if you don't have consistency, you often hear people saying that, yeah, he had a very wonderful season last year, and like the following year wasn't so great, right? So you are prepared for such situations where you are able to, and you've been training for those situations where you are able to be consistent and always. And even in music, you have to be consistent, right? But the most important thing is, if you've assigned value into a particular product or into a particular asset, or even in yourself, then you have to be able to live up to the value of that particular valuation that you've assigned on your product.
So here's something as well, if I can bring it up. I think just basically on the what would like to the topic, right? Again, we discussed it, right? And maybe this can also tie into that as well. Does clothes maketh a man? The table is open, guys. It's open for discussion.
Yeah.
And that's the same way, because I'm listening to what you're saying, and then this thought just came up, like in terms of the in terms of clothing and what you wear. Does it actually really make you? And how does people actually look at a person?
You know what, I actually like that. I don't think they do. And I often see these things in broad daylight. And here's an example. Like you find people that actually like associate certain looks or certain dress codes or dress styles with something, right? So if you are formal, most of the time, if you dress formal, they will maybe think, okay, this is a corporate person, right? And if you are very casual, they will think you're an artist or something, right? So they make those associations. But then like you find that you can be the opposite, but also dressed with the other guys that actually don't look corporate. So that doesn't actually, for me, like clothes, honestly, like are just another way of representing a person, but they don't define you. They don't make a man,
but they represent you.
Yes, they represent you, but they don't make you. You are who you are at the end of the day. So like you could be one time you could be like very arty, one time you could be very formal, right? So you can actually tap into different variations. So those clothes don't make you.
Yeah, well, okay, it's a good one, this one, because it's like making me really think deep. I'm thinking about Michael Jackson, right? When you think about Michael Jackson's dress code, white socks, moccasins, or whatever those shoes were, those 3/4 pants and those type of stuff. Yes, that didn't make him be the Michael Jackson with the moves and all that type of stuff. That is him.
Yes, but then sometimes you can't picture him without.
That's how we identify him, So and I mean, whenever people put on an act of Michael Jackson, they nail that dress code. The toweling white socks, moccasins, 3/4 pants. I mean, even that red jacket, the famous Thriller jacket, you know.
Yeah.
So okay, yes, it doesn't make us a man, but to you say to by you saying it represents the person, it doesn't that somehow actually make it the man because you don't know Michael Jackson any other way.
Okay, let me ask you this question, right? Maybe like the question itself
Yeah.
would provide an answer. Would you rather be seen as how you look and perceived as how you look?
Then what?
No, like remember you're saying that okay, with Michael Jackson, we can't see Michael Jackson without that look. Like
yeah.
it's him. Like
Yeah.
it's so belonging. So we can't picture you like in any other look. So are you saying that you'd wanna be seen that way as well? Where if you actually dress a certain way or if you look a certain way, then like people can perceive you in that way and like in no other way.
Well, look, it depends because I guess when it comes to um, speaking about the person's worth, those are two things that is now different. When you speak about whether a person is worthy of something based on the dress code, that's a different story. But to look at a person and say, okay, you know what, this person seems a bit hip, this person seems based on the dress code, and
Yeah.
there was clear intention with that whole genre of hip hop dressing style. So if you seen that way, then I think there is not a problem. I mean, if you want to be dressing with your toe caps, what superstars and the Adidas tracksuit, that was an era that it was a defining era for hip hop and for Adidas as well. So for me, when I decide on my outfit for the day, even though it's not much going into it, it's like I don't mind being seen the way I am dressed. People maybe like it's sloppy and all that type of stuff, but that may be just the way I'm liking it to be, just cool, calm, and collective, not stressing too much about all the other finer details.
But you also need to be comfortable, isn't it?
That's
you
what I'm
need to
saying.
be
Yeah,
you need to be comfortable in
in what you wear.
whatever you wear.
Yeah.
And here's an example. You know, you spoke about corporate, and we'll speak religious as well. Religion. So basically, I'll just use a pastor. If you're a pastor and you're wearing you wear a 3-piece suit, and I'm a pastor, and this is how I dress. Who's gonna get more respect, or who they're gonna look at, and who they're gonna say is more religious or more godly,
so true.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is what happens. So people identify with the clothes.
Yeah.
They'll tell you like, that man is a religious man.
Yeah.
That man is an anointed man, you know, based on
the clothing.
the clothing.
Yeah. Which and that's what I was saying, that you know, it's two different things. It shouldn't be seen that way, because what if that day that you well, two scenarios. One, you could go that way to church and still preach a message, you know, and a powerful message, and the other could be that what if it was your day of sports, you know,
true.
so now must you go to sports day with the 3-piece suit?
Yeah, true.
Nah, man.
You know what I was actually like thinking. You know, like sometimes like a person like could be dressed a certain way, right? And you actually discount them based on how they look, only to find out they carry so much wisdom with them. And
True.
you've actually dismissed them because they actually dressed in a certain way that doesn't maybe subscribe to your standards.
Yeah. It also comes to a point where the level of respect you start getting from people, you know, according to what car you drive or the clothing you wear, you know. So the level of respect, people's respect changes when it comes to, in terms of, if you're driving a luxury car, if you're wearing branded clothes, people's respect change. You know, you more respected in in that field, and I don't think that it's fair because there's many people, as you mentioned, like a lot of people that has wisdom.
What do you
You
think
know,
is the cause of that, though? Of like people like looking at how you like dressed and how you look and what you have and outside of yourself, so on and so forth, and then they immediately associate that with something.
I just think like basically it's society today, man. You know, you always have to. Uh, it's basically you always have to. Uh, how do I put it? Like uphold a certain
A level
level in society
for you to be accepted,
for
basically.
you to be accepted, for you to be respected, for you to be included as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that fell on tough times that has the wisdom, you know, that comes from wealth, that comes from a whole lot of, we don't know their backgrounds,
Yeah.
but based on, we'll see them in the street, he doesn't have a home or whatever it is, and I'm
Yeah.
already judging this person.
So I think it goes back to, again, like a lot of things. It's tradition, and it's things from old days where they look at things and they say, no, you shouldn't do such and such at a certain time or in a certain place because it's not good, or it's not appreciated, or it's not accepted in this space. And then you find out that at that moment it may not have been accepted because of a particular reason.
Yeah.
And even the clothing, for example, right? We talk about going to the office. There's a certain dress code where certain people have to, in the corporate world, and even in, like the restaurants and all those type of stuff. There's certain standards that needs to be upheld, and there's a reason behind that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people have to tie up their hair. They have to keep their hair in a certain, because otherwise hair could fall into the food and all that type of stuff, and those could cause problems. People dressing in a particular way in the office that may be inappropriate for the office space because people now lose focus and other things like that. And so I think there's a line that where people mix the two and say that based on, if you dressing in a certain way and it's not meeting that level of
Yeah,
expensive
not to the
dress code and all that type of stuff, and name brands, as X mentioned, then you're not going to be held within the respected, like within the inner circle. Whereas person that's just dressed up decently but casually is seen as a nobody.
So check as a story, right? A certain player in the UK, after having like a series of underwhelming seasons, right? So he finally decided to change clubs because a lot had been speculated about where his mind is, relative to his career, and like how he hasn't actually reached those highs that he previously reached. And he's a fairly young player, to be quite honest. So like he has huge potential ahead of him. So he changed the club. So he was dressed in a particular way when they were doing the
Press conference.
The press conference and the welcome ceremony where you walk into the stadium and then you greet the fans and stuff like that. So he was dressed in a certain way. So like in a way that normally a model would actually be dressed like. Now here's the thing. Now people are associating the way that he was dressed with why he's been performing that way, because he's part-time doing modeling, right? So now people are actually taking that and they're saying that it's the reason why you perform that way. So a certain look can literally create like something that doesn't even exist, because we don't know if it's actually that modeling or the way that he dresses that's affecting his performances. It could be something else,
and it could be modeling as well. The fans may be right.
So like like when you talk about like someone's look, actually, like if it makes a man, like if it doesn't make you, well, someone will make something of it about you.
But I think for me, like, I mean, I'm identified to the three people I know by my dress code. There's certain boundaries that I hardly would cross. Like I can't be seen wearing a very tight pants or red pants and stuff like that. It's just not my style. It's not that there's anything wrong with it, you know.
Yeah.
So. And there were times where I might have bought some stuff. I can't remember what was it, and people at home were like, "But this is unlike you," you know, because not because
You
you're
know
playing
what?
it safe.
You know what? He's saying this
Wasn't
now.
it that the red lingerie?
X, you know what? Let me tell you something.
Nah, they knew that's my style.
Let me tell you something. You know, life is very surprising. Life will actually test you on your words.
Yeah.
You know what you put out there in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yes, it will soon come into test. We will check. One time, a big company or a big brand comes and then they say, "Yo, like, we like you. We want to do some business with you. Maybe like we want you to be an ambassador for our brand, right?" And then they give you these pants. You signed a deal with them and they give you these pants. And these pants so happen to be tight. But they 5 and 10, $15 million tight because you got paid.
A stack, a rack, a bag.
A bag, you know,
Bro,
Now you
like
got
how many
paid.
pants are you doing? I'll wear it 7 days a week, 365.
I'm too sexy
and
for
now
my
what?
pants. Too sexy for my pants.
Hey. So never say never.
No. You know, I think there's also limits where you discuss these things and you be like, okay, look, whatever you're promoting is not my style. So I don't also want to be like Dr. Dre. I don't know if you guys watch that.
But Maurice, listen, it's separation of duties. As an individual, you do not do this. You don't believe in tight
Yes,
pants.
yes.
Okay, as a professional,
And yeah, they
like,
may
we,
be,
we,
but
we require you to wear these pants. Like I said to you, like we've put so much money into that pocket, boy. So like,
nah, but it still depends. I mean, I'm not gonna like if you're gonna sign a
keep
deal.
up your end of that deal.
If you're gonna sign a deal,
Yeah,
the
of
deal.
course.
The deal needs to be clear. So you can't tell me
The deal-
afterwards,
Maurice,
like,
the deal changes all the time.
Nah, then we
because
change the deal
products
as well.
products have to evolve. So when they start, maybe they started on some big ass pants, right? And then they're like, man, the season is not for big ass pants.
Yeah.
Now we're in the season of tight
Skinnies,
pants.
yeah.
Now, like, we've got a contract with this person, and he's, like, he has to fulfill his obligation. Then now we find you wearing tight pants, and you know what we're gonna say? We're gonna say, like, you fell, you tripped on your word.
no. Like there's terms and conditions, and those terms and conditions, once breached or once changed, we change our terms and conditions as well. Look, I'm not gonna front and say there's certain things I wouldn't do, but there's other things that it's it crosses the line to say nah.
Yeah, but there are
that's
those
beyond
situations
those.
that will actually maybe invite you in such a situation.
Yeah.
Then now, like, if that's why I'm saying that the thing is with life, like, life can take you in any direction. We choose the direction that we want. by the way,
Exactly, we
right?
choose, but it still
Yes.
it can take you in any direction
can
if you
take you-
allow it to.
Yeah,
but if you choose,
but
you're
taking
shot.
you in a different kind of direction may still be part of getting to that
Yeah, it seems
destination.
like he wants me to wear tight pants. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
But anyway, guys, so back in the day, so we can definitely see things are changing where people are more free in terms
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what they want to wear, and it's no longer
As stringent.
as stringent. You say that if you're a CEO, you have to wear this 3-piece suit
Yes.
in certain fields, right? You see a CEO who comes with jeans, sneakers,
Yeah.
and t-shirts,
Yep.
and sometimes the person obviously doesn't want to be identified. You get what I'm saying? By everyone, but only by people close to him.
You know
Him or
why
her.
that narrative or that paradigm is actually shifted?
Why?
Because people realize that they could become CEOs
Yeah.
in every field. And then they become CEOs in those fields. And then guess what happens? Then they influence the change they want to see.
And another thing
True.
is that
True. Yeah. So sorry.
No problem.
So basically, you're right. A person would sit there and they'd come up with a great idea, and just the fact that they enjoy dressing a certain way, they would be like, I'm coming into this game or whatever. I'm changing the industry.
Yeah.
Industry disruptors.
Yeah.
And who is that? It's the new generation. It's the young cats. Because you'll see only the older, the senior guys, they only catching on to it now because they're seeing
Yes.
that this is how you attract the younger market.
And when they do that, it always feels like it's so out of place.
Yes, because it's like just not, it's not put together the way it should be. It's not organic.
Yeah, it's not organic. You can tell. You can tell when it's fake and it's real.
That's why I respect Dr. Dre, guys. Like that interview. I don't know if you guys saw it, where he speaks about how they founded Beats, and apparently at one point they approached him to ask him to partner up and run a sneaker or clothing line or something like that, and he refused because it's like that. That's not
On
him.
the basis of?
It's not him. He's not a guy
Oh.
that's all funky and dressing up and doing all these things. He's like he's a guy of Air Force Ones. He has a whole pair of Air Force Ones. He has his black khaki black pants or his khaki pants. I can't remember what did he say. And that's him day in day out. So now you're gonna be seeing him launching a new sneaker that's funky with different colors to attract the youth market. People be like, that it's not Dr. Dre. This is just a gimmick. So he then says, I'm turning down the deal. I think it was with Jimmy Iovine. He says, nah. And eventually, the Beats by Dre thing came about. And he's like, this is something I can put my name to because this is something I stand for, I believe in. I tune my speakers at home. I tune my speakers in the studio. This is who I am. Not the... I'm an Air Force One type of guy.
That's actually very
My
important.
Air Force Ones.
That's very important because like I always say like we are not our professions, first and foremost, and it's important for us to understand ourselves as unique individuals, and we have unique abilities, unique beliefs, and everything about us is unique. So when you find yourself now in a situation where you become your profession, my goodness, I don't know what life is gonna be like for you because think of like the people that actually like forget that they're human because they are who they are. Like if you're a superstar,
If you are what you say,
if you are a superstar, like do you know like how? And actually some people go and prove this is not true. People say when you're a superstar, like you can't live life this way. Superstars live life this way,
the
right?
celebrity world.
But then like Snoop Dogg is a superstar, right? But Snoop Dogg is not restricted to where he can go, and Snoop Dogg is gonna be okay wherever he goes.
Because Snoop is a G. We have to just put that on the table. Snoop is a G, bruh.
Yeah.
So like I think what makes Snoop Dogg the person that he is, or like a person that's like universally viable or acceptable, is because of the way that he conducts himself, right? He is who he is, like if you are connected truly with who you are, like there's not gonna be a reason for people not to.
Look at Adam Sandler as well.
Yeah.
A perfect example, another perfect example.
So like
when he's off the camera.
you okay,
basketball shorts is on the pitch with what's his name? What's this guy's name? The one with the guy that was the Joker at one point in time.
say the sport.
Basketball.
Basketball.
They were
At
sitting,
the NBA.
Yeah, they were sitting next to each other. The guy that's always
Jack.
there, Jack Nicholson. Yeah,
Oh.
you were saying something.
I'm saying Jack like I know him personally.
Yeah,
I'm like, Jack.
like your body. Yeah,
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so like it's for me, like I think like at the end of the day, like if no matter where you are in life, whether you are a CEO or whether you are an artist or whether you are a sportsman or sportswoman, at the end of the day, like you are yourself, you are your own man. So like if you go home and then you decide that like I'm not gonna dress like footballers dress, I'm gonna be different, and like this is how I choose to dress. And if you are a pastor, if you decide one time that I'm gonna be rocking this nice golf t-shirt, let it be cool as well. Because what matters is what actually comes out of your mouth, which is the word that you actually preach and deliver. That's what we want, right? So, like your clothes, they're not gonna do us any much, to be quite honest. That's not what we want. So this is what I think there's a soccer player. I like to reference soccer players, guys. I think there's a soccer player that actually said that because they wanted to hold him to a certain standard. He says, no, 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 sorry, that's not me. Me, I'm gonna give you everything you want on the pitch. I'm gonna give you those results.
But his personal life.
Outside of the pitch, please, that's not me. Now you're not gonna hold me to any standard that I didn't subscribe to. Same as fashion, you know. I mean, like we see people like, you know, dressed in different way. Don't you think they playing characters?
Yeah.
Because like sometimes you just feel like, okay, like, isn't it too obvious that like person wouldn't switch from this to this, like unless they knew what they were doing, and the maybe the underlying reason is not I am for this. That's why I always say that like people will sell us things that they don't even wear, right? But they can actually, like, you know, on a Paris Fashion Week, you know, you can see people, yeah, but like they don't. The Louis Vuitton CEO Bernard, what's
Arnold or something.
Bernard Arnold?
Yeah.
Yes, he's the prime example. Like, do you see him in those Louis garments? Yeah, you'll never see him like with your Louis and no.
But he's not the creative director, so
He's
it's
not,
understandable
but
that
still,
case.
he owns the
it.
product.
Yeah. But it's coming back to what you're saying also about the CEOs, you know, where you can see that this is just like a facade. It's just put on for that time. So you see these things in the celebrities and fashion week and all that type of stuff, and you ask yourself, but like, are you seriously gonna sell us that now? Sell us this look? And but the funny thing is a lot of people fall for it, and I don't know if they want to be like J-Lo, or they want to be like Snoop Dogg, or they want to be like all these people, so they dress in exactly what they were dressing in, and think that's gonna maybe make them, you know,
it's the
celebrity
impact,
status.
or rather influence. Yeah, it's the influence, because when you are a certain person, like, who recognizes with, or who we identify with a certain stature, everything that you do, everything that you say, what comes out of your mouth, like, you can literally stand in front of a crowd, right, and tell them that ditch your houses, it's about to get rainy, and everyone will ditch their houses, everyone will be selling their houses, right? Like, they didn't even fact check what you're talking about. They just believe you because it's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You are our hero.
A reliable
but
source.
Actually, you are Maurice. You just happen
Just
to
another
achieve
person.
or to excel in something,
Yeah.
right? And now, like, we expect Maurice to be like a politician. Maurice, you need to know these things. Now Maurice is everything. Maurice is the finance guy. Maurice is the lawyer. Maurice is everything. So, like, that's how far people can take it. That's why every now and then you need to disconnect between your personal life and your professional life, because during your personal life you can find yourself living your professional life,
And vice versa.
and vice versa, right? So you don't want to find yourself in that situation.
Like, I saw someone. Let me not talk about it. This was just
Why
a
don't you just
disgusting
speak
thing.
about it?
Nah, I saw someone one time in a professional space putting their hand right down their crack and scratching. I'm like, guys, like, seriously, man, like, this is
That's
number
human
one.
nature, man. Like, what the hell?
Why did you expect him to get like a stick?
You must.
No, but
do something else.
that's just what I'm trying to understand. Like, why is it that we actually, I think, what do they speak about? What do they say? Don't judge a book by its cover, right? And many a times we find ourselves doing that.
Yeah.
I saw another program where someone was actually speaking about, it was in the week, a preacher. I just put it on and I was busy at home, and he was actually speaking about judging a book by its cover, and he mentioned that there's this time where he went into a bookstore, and there were tons of books. And when he got to the book, there was this book that had like a beautiful cover, and he chose it, or someone told him to recommended that book,
Yeah.
in the store, and he took the book, and he was excited. But when he got home, it had blank pages in it. It
Wow.
was full of blank pages. So yeah, so just judging a book by its cover, and I think you also need to earn your respect, and not through clothing
Yeah.
or what you wear,
Yes.
the way you carry
Key.
yourself,
Character,
character.
personality.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
But-
how it is.
But then there's another thing.
So that book.
No, as I'm sitting and I'm thinking
What's the other
exactly of
thing?
what you're saying. There's like, okay, I'm not gonna say you judge a person by their clothing, right? But you identify people of credibility of something particular. For example, you see a person dressed up in a, no, doesn't necessarily have to be a three-piece suit, just in a suit, or even just in a trousers or a sport coat, and you identify that this person is wearing maybe cashmere, as an example,
Yeah.
or it's a very high fiber count or thread count wool, a good wool, check merino or something like that, and you see that this is a person that appreciates the finer things when it comes to that, and they are of the cloth, or of the literal cloth, not cloth as in the Bible cloth, the personal cloth. Yeah, don't want to confuse this thing.
That's what
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, I always find myself
Yeah,
in
we
those
get it.
situations.
I
bro.
get it.
So then in that case, you know this person, this is who they are, and this is the depth that they go to like love that part of who they are. They're loving and dressing who they are. Like when you talk about the best of the best in terms of clothing, like the very finest of wools they dressing in, the very best of silks, that's who they are. Now it doesn't necessarily
They
mean that
probably appreciate
Yeah,
good things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
And-
I mean, we appreciate different things.
Yeah.
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 We,
So
we can't take that away from people, and we're not
yes.
generalizing,
Yes.
because I think like whatever sweater or whatever sneaker you're wearing, like, you have a liking in it. You get what I'm saying? Something attracted you to it. But the problem comes when we start really giving, I don't know, like glorifying people based on
those type of things.
yeah,
Why is it a
those type
problem,
of
though?
things or whatever.
Because isn't it something they choose to actually? So you're saying that they're less deserving? Of
No,
being
not at all.
glorified
I
for
think what X-Men is referring to is where you now saying that if you and I are sitting next to each other and we working at the same place and you dressed in a better way than I'm dressed, then we glorify you as the person who knows better in
that?
whatever
Oh, no,
work that we do.
definitely.
Exactly. So
But I would rather both of them get their glorification.
Yeah,
what do you
exactly,
think
yeah.
about
the
about
respect,
the
yeah.
famous guy, the tender swindler? You see what he done? Hey guys,
you know what? Can I
and
tell you
there's a lot
something,
of
guys?
there's a lot
Oh,
of things that's happening.
Yeah.
Sorry to put it on the
Don't
table,
put
but
it on the table.
I put it on the table. And
bruh.
did you see how what happened there?
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Tell us something.
Perpendicular to what he just said.
Perpendicular.
Some people show up
Mm.
and they get remembered for how they looked.
Mm.
Some people show up and they get remembered for their character
What they left behind, yeah.
they left behind. So, like when you go back home, you might not even recall the way they were dressed.
Mm.
That's not what
But-
actually stood out.
Mhm.
Something else did. So the other person, the look stood out more than what he he had to offer in terms of substance.
So exactly with the Tinder swindler. So his look stood out, and that is how he could
Yes,
get
swindled
it's
away
a
with
his
it,
lure,
way in.
isn't it? And they fell for it.
Yeah,
And that's just the way it is. Like
That's just the way love
there's a lot of things where people fall for things.
Let me tell you, because I
Isn't
did
it?
ask you, you know what I said? I asked you, I said, what is the underlying reason why that is? And all you guys did was to dribble around, dribble around, dribble around. Now I want to tell you, let's land right to it. I was chatting to someone and I said to someone, do you know that 90% of the people on planet Earth think the same way? And she was chuckling for a second, and then she came to her senses that, wait a minute, he's onto something. And then he says, go on. She says, go on. And then I'm like, okay, why do you think they think the same way? Because they consume
The same thing.
the same information.
Okay.
They sit there and watch the news, and the news will tell them A, B, C, and D. And guess what? If we heard the same thing from the news, aren't we gonna think the same thing about the news, about what we heard? We are.
Yeah, we are.
So people consume the same things, right? While we are consuming that particular same thing, there are people that consume a lot of other things that are not the same as the ones that we consume. So to get people to mass think, that is what you do. You push a certain propaganda. So because of these clothes that you guys have been talking about, they have created a perception through advertisement, through marketing, that this particular look is associated with, right? With wealthy people, for instance. Wealthy people dress this way. That's their market. Everyone who becomes wealthy will have that perception, or everyone who sees or wealthy people dress this way, or rich people, all those classifications, or like musicians dress this way. So we consume that,
Yeah, true. And
and then
even like
now we start to look at those people. That's why now someone can sing about a Gucci, a rapper can sing about a Gucci, and everyone is stressed out. They want that Gucci.
look at
They
look
want
at
that
look at
Gucci.
look at Dapper Man,
Yeah.
how he came into the industry, you know, with the clothing that the culture was actually hip hop, and you know he had a target market. And look, we have big labels that are collaborating with him or that took him on, you know, because of the art that he had, you know, that he has, basically, you know, and helping these people, because in hip hop it was basically seen that these high end labels were not for hip hop artists, you know. So what they had to source their own way of getting, you know, their style, you know. And look how it actually grew.
Yeah, I mean that's also why Virgil Abloh,
Yes.
RIP, was respected in the industry, because he introduced the streetwear to high fashion. So that wasn't something that was normal in that space. I mean, that high fashion was for your gala evenings, your red carpet events, and those type of stuff, but not for your daily wears, you know, like performing in a music video and stuff and dressed up in all Dolce and Gabbana or Louis Vuitton or whatever the case is. So
I think this particular topic needs to go on, where we need to get more guests, you know, like guests that can
Yes, I got
give
it.
us more.
So check. The other
this guy's a
day.
disruptor.
No. I found something that I've been looking for.
Yeah.
So the other day, and it's actually to your point, guys. The other day, I was so upset, right? Not really upset. I would say like disappointed. I was so disappointed. The Grammys awarded Virgil, right? But guess what they said? Hip hop fashion designer. Hip hop fashion designer, as if like Ablo only designed for hip hop. How many people are actually like wearing Virgil?
Off-white, yeah.
It's not just rappers. So why would you say hip hop? Right? So you've just reduced that man to one thing, hip hop.
And that is why, also in off that, I know, like your Kanye, when he actually came up,
Yes.
and he was known as a producer, and he said, no,
Exactly.
I don't want to be a producer. You need to put me in the category of a rapper. And as to your point now as well, people had put him in that category, and he's bigger than that.
Yes.
Isn't it?
And but okay.
Or his art is bigger than that.
He is.
Yeah,
His art is bigger than that. But someone actually said something, Someone said, I don't know if it was Dame Dash recently, but I think someone said, I still think he's a better producer than a rapper.
I think it was Dame Dash.
It was Dame Dash,
yeah, I think.
Yeah. So like Kanye wants to be like the best rapper, right? But like there are some people, especially like his industry peers, that actually look at him and say, you are actually a much more incredible and better producer than a rapper. And for some reason, I'm more inclined to actually agree with that. I actually think Kanye is a far more better producer than he is a rapper. I think he's a very, very, very good rapper. I do believe that. I genuinely believe that. But I think his producing, and this may be a double-edged sword in his case, because it doesn't matter. Like, you just want one or the other. And there's times where like people are talking about producers and he doesn't feel like, oh, you don't respect me enough as a producer. Like, he wants both and he wants to dominate both ends. But that's cool as well. But yeah, so I was very inclined to agree with that statement.
Other people are silent.
Yeah, no, just silence. I have nothing to say about this matter. I will not throw my 2 cents in.
So yeah, like I was in the case of Virgil, to be quite honest, like I don't think like anybody wants to find themselves in a space or in a situation where they're actually like boxed or they like told that you can only be. But like, what if your product is universal or it catapults through other industries, but you want to reduce it to, so you don't reduce Virgil to just a hip-hop fashion designer. He's more than that.
But that's with us as well.
And there are people, like the contrast in this, we're advocating for both ends here. We're talking about a person that's a sportsman that needs to stick to sports. And then now I was about to say there are people that are not just boxers, they were activists.
Yeah.
They were something. So I was about to say that, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, which one am I advocating for? Because I actually, but that's the nice thing about this show. Like, we bring everything into the table. You decide what works for you.
That's very true. And just thinking again about Virgil, guys, like so you say you got a Grammy. I didn't even see that. I missed that. I don't really follow all these things. But nonetheless, what a coincidence that he gets a Grammy just after
the fact.
Yeah. Like, why is that the case?
Yeah, you see, that's the thing with society these days, or like our population, humanity. We tend to celebrate you more when you are gone than when you are with us. We can give you problems when you're with us, but the minute that you vacate, then we start to say how much we loved you and how much we wished we would have actually resolved whatever problems that we had with you.
Or how great you were, or all that type of stuff.
So we start to say all these things that we most probably should have said while you were still
Exactly.
alive.
I also read like DJ Porisa. He said, like, give me flowers while I'm alive, and not when I'm dead, because he's done so much for the industry. This Amapiano, and I think he has a point where people need to, show that appreciation while he's alive,
Yes.
and speak about him while he's alive, and not when he passed on. God forbids that happens. And like the old people normally say, don't give me flowers when I'm dead, or rather do it when I'm alive.
But like that statement is actually very, it's so substantial and it's so heavy in weight, then it can actually get easily overlooked. Like even with like your own family, like how many times do you actually really like give them their flowers, like while they're still alive? Because like that should come as second nature. That's what we should do. Like an example of this, um there's this guy that I play soccer with, so like I like the way that he defends. He's a very, very good defender. So after the game, I went to him and I told him, I said, dude, like you're one of the best one-on-one defenders I've ever come across, right? And then I told him this, and I said, I would like to play against you because every time we play, we're in the same team. And I'm like, I would like to play against you, but I've got a feeling that I might be too much to deal with. That's what I told him. And he laughed. You know what? But he appreciated it more because like someone recognized, and he was so good. He was so good. Like I'm in his team. Like I know, like if this guy is defending, nothing is happening. No one is going through. No one. Not even the Mexicans are going through.
That's kind. Oh my goodness. I know. And he's referring to the Mexican soccer team, right? Just putting it out.
So yeah, man, like you need to give people their flowers, and it's very important. And when we talk about giving people their flowers, we're not just talking about celebrities, because we also have people around us. Give those people their flowers. There's a person that's doing so much for the community, but he's not famous.
Reminds me of Mike Dean.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, but they're not famous. But that doesn't mean that they're not doing jack shit.
Mike
What they're
Dean is
doing.
a
The track record is
legend.
there, but nobody wants to say nothing
Exactly.
until you become famous. You know what the problem is? That's why now even the people that aren't supposed to be famous are famous.
Yeah, that's the thing, bro. And then
I'm telling you, everyone is famous. Have you not noticed?
and you find out that you can't actually differentiate who is
Yes.
actually a superstar, the true definition of a superstar, and who is just famous.
Yes.
So other people are called superstars because they are like
Famous.
trending on social medias and all that stuff, and they're famous too,
Yeah.
where they're identifiable and stuff like that. But then you get people like Jackie Chan as an example, that's been in the craft for 30, 40 years, that's been mastering martial
ghetto
arts and all that type
superstar.
of stuff. Seems like you've been sitting on that the whole You've been waiting for a gap, and I've just been rambling, and you're like, okay, he's breathing now, let me hear it.
It's coming. Yeah. Jackie
Dude,
Chan.
so yeah, and then you have people like Mike Dean. Like, I was like, at first I didn't know who Mike Dean was. I think I found my cousin was telling me about Mike Dean. I think it was either last year or the year before, and I listened to some of his stuff, and I checked where he actually featured, what albums was he working on, which tracks was he working on. I was like, how is this guy not in the conversation? If this guy is doing this marvelous work, and he's an industry disruptor as well. It comes in with a total different sound. But because there's certain other people that's classified as superstars and that's famous, and then they take the hype and the shine. But I'm glad there's people like him that's also humble to say, you know what, it's fine. Take the cloud, take the light, take the.
But what if he's not? What if he's not about that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
what if
glad
he's not
these people
about that? Satan. What if he's just more of enjoying the moment,
the creativity,
the creativity, and yes, you do your thing, but I'm here.
Yeah.
And just as we're speaking about it now, we recognize him.
Man, props to Mike Dean.
Sometimes you have to you pull that person out of the crowd, you
Yeah.
know, for them to stand out. Not to say that he didn't stand out, but there's many other people,
People
that,
were
that
sleeping on
obviously
him. Yeah.
there's other people that obviously acknowledges that as well. You know,
And that's the same with Virgil to some extent that I think happened. Because people came up later on and then they're like, oh, Virgil did this, Virgil. Then everything, because after he passed, and it was like old statue and this and that. So now people got on the bandwagon and
But
they
I
became
think at that point it was
bandwagoneers.
already that big.
No, he was big, but like people, you must understand that Virgil is or was big, but there are people that are not in tune, so they wouldn't know all those things. So even Mike
intricate
Dean is big.
details, yeah.
Mike Dean is not a minky cat. Mike Dean is big, but like you get people like me that's a fool that's been sleeping on the behind the scenes work and they may
Yeah.
not know these things. Even Jimmy Iovine, for example, people I can ask random people, you know who Jimmy Iovine is? People may not know Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah, true.
But Jimmy Iovine is the boss's boss, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is big.
He's behind some of the biggest
Yeah.
superstars we celebrate today.
So with Virgil, I think the same thing until it became point to say, okay, this is what all he did and all that type of stuff. Now people are like, oh, oh. And people knew at one point, okay, he was the creative director behind Louis V. But then what did he do? Because it's not just like you behind the curtain. What did you actually do? Then you understand that how this guy incorporated streetwear into high fashion and all the other things, and while doing that he was running Off-White as well. And before that he was doing other things. He even created, I think you were telling me, the album art of some I think it was it Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, or which album?
Yeah, I think
So-
it's the one that did that.
People don't know these things until now it gets to that point where you succumbed, and now people are like, oh yeah, you know, this is our guy, this, and all. Now you bring the flowers, as you guys are saying.
Yeah, true. It's like the Nipsey Hussle situation.
Oh, Nupsy as well.
Yeah, like the flowers that he received, and a lot of people were actually just, coming into contact with his music. At that point, they hadn't actually like stumbled upon it. So
They
it
didn't
took a
even
while.
know his music. They
So,
just heard
yeah, they
about this
didn't.
guy.
But then
Nupsy.
because there was so much in the direction of Nip and being given his flowers, of course, like after the fact, like we said. But then everyone wanted to know, who is this Nipsey?
Yeah.
Why is this Nipsey being given flowers? And when people went to his music, they were like, damn, now I see why. But the guy has been here like 11. He was out here, doing his thing.
And that's why I said Snoop is a G. Because Snoop didn't wait until that point to give him There was an interview I saw and he was like, I F what you, Nip. And he was telling everybody that if
Yeah.
you need anything, like Snoop is a G, bruh.
But you know what, Maurice, and X, like what I will say is, I don't want anyone.
To give you flowers.
No, I don't want anyone. And of course, this is not me actually enforcing my how I want to be viewed to people. You can choose how you want to look at me, but here's my wish. I don't want anyone to look at me, associate the way that I choose to present myself, and hold me to that standard. One day I may decide that, you know what, I'm going to rock some, I want to say brands. I want to rock some 3-piece suit, right? And I can go through a series where, like, that particular season, I'm just doing suits and ties, taxes, And the other time, I feel like I want to do something else. Like, I'm on a different loop now.
But isn't that also some form of consistency? The change is actually a consistent change. So
that's what I'm trying to say, is that I will always like find new ways, But that's not to say that that's got anything to do with like.
But it's got to do with with who you are, because your change, your constant change, and your constant dress sense plays a part of who you are, because you don't just do things randomly. And even the random things that you think is random, there is a reason behind it. It's all character and personality based. You're not gonna wake up tomorrow and dress like exactly like me, because it's individual. It's who you are. So for that, I mean, like you're saying, if you're gonna dress up today the way you dress up, and tomorrow in a three-piece suit, and the following day you're gonna dress up as a hockey player,
What I'm saying is I can be a rock star with no guitar.
yes, which is fine, and that is still who you are. That's the
I'm
point
a rock
about
star
it.
with no guitar.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not a rock star.
but you can be if you want to be.
Yeah, of course.
And then you rock it because that's who you are. Like, you a person who wants to be versatile, who wants to
Yeah.
keep changing and reinventing yourself.
So that's exactly now where I want us to take it. See, that person, I'm comfortable with you actually perceiving me like that,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So yes, so that's exactly where I
Yeah.
wanted you to take
Yeah.
it, because at the end of the day, it happens in everything that we come across. Like, if you see a person and like where they started and how far they go, their journey is always changing. Remember that that direction that I spoke to.
The meandering.
Yes.
Guys, you know what, it's been real, man. I know we still have a lot to talk about, because it's been our first show back, and I actually didn't even
Feels
feel
good to
like,
be back.
yeah, man, I actually feel like we didn't, do justice. We have so much to talk about, but
It's always like this.
yeah,
It's always like this. But sometimes less is more.
isn't it the pound cake? Less
all
is
I'm saying is less is
there's
more.
plenty of us. Chico, man. Yeah, man, guys, thanks a lot again. We have so much to speak about. The first couple, actually, what was it, December, January, February, March? We have a lot that we actually did in that time, and that we want to talk about. There's a lot more coming. There's some interesting news that we have, but that we don't
Town.
want to share
We've been
yet.
to
Yeah,
Cape
we
Town.
have we have Cape Town to talk about. We have special guests that will be joining us as well. There's
Yeah.
just so many things, so stay tuned,
Interesting
guys.
stuff in the pipeline.
Yeah, man. Anywho, peace in the Middle East. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.